You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Doing it is your sister in knowledge, one of your favorite content creators. I go by the name of Lady Mochas. I thank y'all for joining Mocha's Ladies Lounge, where I share with you content, celebrity news, speak on different celebrity topics, but more from a spiritual perspective. I really want to thank all of y'all so much for supporting me, for subscribing to me. And I said I will be doing a membership very soon. It'll only be like $2 a month, y'all, so I'm not trying to be greedy about it, but I really want to elevate my channel and do bigger and better things. But it won't be an obligated type of membership. It'll be an option, so you don't feel like you have to pay every time you want to view my content. No, it'll only be for those who choose to bless my channel. No pressure on none of my behalf. But nevertheless, y'all, I wanted to get into this right away, honey, because we got some scriptures. We got a whole lot we got to discuss, because I tell you, these men are showing more and more and more they are lacking the leadership abilities that God has given them when it comes to discretion, when it comes to choosing a wife, when it comes to leading a household, when it comes to being leaders of the household. They are displaying more and more and more that they are not qualified to do what God has designed and created men to be able to do, which is lead. So y'all, we're gonna be talking about Kim Zolciak's recent divorce. She just filed for divorce, if y'all have not heard already. So we're going to be talking about a little bit of Kim Zolciak's history and why we're not surprised. She's finally gotten to that place where she's tired of pretending to be a wife. She's tired of pretending to be a stand by your man through the thick and thin, for better or for worse. She's tired of playing that role because the bank rolls ain't rolling like it was rolling when she first met Kroy. So we're going to be talking about her, and we're going to talk about your man Steve Harvey again. And today's topic, y'all, so we all are on the same page, we're going to be talking about, make sure I have my little thumbnail because I got so much topics, y'all, so I be confusing my darn self. We're going to be talking about basically pretty privilege. You know how pretty privilege is ruining the integrity of men. How pretty privilege ruins a man's integrity. Materialistic women that choose low value men. Now, first of all, let me start off by saying this. Just because a man is successful, it does not mean he has high self-esteem. Just because a man is a millionaire, it does not mean he has high self-esteem. You cannot equate success with self-integrity, with self-respect, with self-esteem. Success has nothing to do with the person's self-worth. Now, from the outside, there's an assumption that because a person is successful, that they obviously have high self-esteem, that they have integrity. Has nothing to do with it. You can be very successful and your confidence level is low. Your bank account may be full, but your spiritual tank is empty. Okay? So you can feel fulfilled in one area of your life and not feel very fulfilled in another area of your life. Ask Will Smith. That's why he went up there and took it upon himself to physically assault Chris Rock, because he values a woman who doesn't value him. And he took that opportunity to take his frustration out on Chris Rock to prove to a woman who obviously does not have that same value for him that he has in her. And he took all of that frustration out on Chris Rock, trying to prove his masculinity to Jada. Okay? So, this just goes to show, even with all his success, we know Will Smith is a millionaire. We know Will Smith is a very talented person. But underneath all of that, we saw the little boy in him, the low self-esteem part of him came out when he walked up on that stage and he physically assaulted Chris Rock, because he wanted to take all his anger and frustration out on another man that had nothing to do with him feeling less worthy of himself. When he saw his wife didn't approve of how Chris Rock was making fun of her or using her as part of his comedian act, he had to prove his masculinity. Why? Because of pretty privilege. And pretty privilege ruins men's integrity all the time. Truth be told, you have some men out here that are very beauty struck. Beauty struck, just like you have women out here who are hooked on how men look. He could be a bum, he cannot work, not have a job, but as long as he looks good and he got that good wood, she's all over it. You have women who fall in love or quick to fall in love, fall for guys that are very attractive but have nothing to offer other than their looks and their good wood. Just like you have women that are infatuated with how a man looks versus his character, you have men that are the very same thing, because I am tired of self-esteem only being low self-esteem, only being associated when we hear women. Low self-esteem is not just a problem that women, let alone black women, only have. Low self-esteem is for anyone, man or woman, black, white, Asian, or whatever, that does not see any worth or value in him or herself. It's not just a woman's problem, and it's not just a black woman's problem. Low self-esteem comes from so many different things. You have a lot of these men that in some cases was born and raised in poverty, was told that they would never be nothing, was told they would never amount to nothing. And when these men finally become successful and they climb that ladder, they start getting attention from women that they never thought that they were worthy of getting attention from. And they're not understanding that it's not so much them that the woman is drawn to. The woman is drawn to their success, to what he can contribute as far as her lifestyle. But because he has struggled with self-esteem issues from a little boy, and he never really got therapy or spiritual guidance on that, it still followed him as a grown man. And here he is now. Now that he's running to this money, has this success, he wants to go back and catch up on everything he was ever deprived of. He was told he would never be nothing. Now that he's something, he wants to compensate for that by dressing in the best, having the best, driving the best, living in the best. He was probably rejected by girls in high school, middle school, when he used to be the little dusty little boy that used to wear the patches in his pants because he couldn't afford these expensive tailor-made suits that he could afford today. So now that he has these women checking for him, now he does not feel he has to have discretion. he just feels like he can get whatever he want to make up for lost times, to make up for times in which he was deprived or never able to really have the pleasures of having the things he always wanted. Now that he feels like he can have those things, he just goes and grabs them without really utilizing his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Which brings me to the scripture, y'all. Because, we got to go into the scriptures. We got to, go into the word of God. Do not lust in your heart. Oops, I didn't even give y'all the verse in the chapter. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 25. Do not lust in your heart after her beauty, or let her captivate you with her eyes. So, if more men would learn the word and really utilize it, and not only preach it, Steve Harvey, not only preach it and teach it, but actually learn to utilize it, and actually learn to apply it, Steve Harvey, you wouldn't have all of these problems. So keep in mind, it's a lot of men and women, a lot of grown folks that are not making wise decisions and not making wise choices because they are going off of lust. They're going off of image. Don't lust for her beauty. Don't let her coy glances seduce you. You have to be mindful of that. So I wanted to talk about these two different situations here because they're both different, but they share a lot of similarities. I want to talk about Kroy, Kim's now going to be ex-husband, Kroy Biermen, who we knew had signed up for a train wreck the moment he married Kim Zolciak. Everybody was against it. His parents was against it. Everybody knew what Kim was about. Everybody knew Kim was a gold digger. Everybody knew Kim had an extensive history of dealing with men, with people who, with men of money, or people who she felt like she could benefit from. Same thing with Marjorie Harvey before she got with Steve Harvey. We're going to talk about both of these situations. Same thing. She has a history of being with kingpins. She has children from them. She's been a part of that lifestyle, and here it is now. Now she's still with a millionaire. Only difference is Steve Harvey is making money legally. She's always been a woman about money. And same thing with Kim Zolciak. And keep in mind that both women are attractive women. Even with all the surgery enhancements that Kim Zolciak has earned off of Kroy's paychecks. Nevertheless, these women have always used their looks to get by. And I know as women, we have friends, we have sisters, we have homegirls, or women that we know of who always have gotten over by using their looks. In some cases, it has blessed them to connect with men who have money, who can flourish them with a luxurious lifestyle. And in some cases, it has cursed them. It has caused them to be in multiple relationships. It has caused them, in some cases, some women have lost their lives playing with the emotions of men. Once they done got what they wanted out of them, they want to get rid of them and discard them. What happened with Instagram model Mercedes? And I'll talk about that one of these days. I talked about it on my other channel. She did the same thing. She was taking advantage of men, pretty young Instagram model, taking advantage of men and using them for their money. You know, this is what these young girls do. That's why I talk to my daughter. I'm like, don't be taking guys' money if you know you don't like them or you ain't interested in them. And that's basically what this particular young lady was doing. And it was this one particular guy who really had fell hard for her. He was a Hispanic male struggling, giving her money he was sweating blood and tears for to please her. And she basically simped him. And he finally caught on to the fact that she was using him. And he realized that he was giving her all his hard-earned money from him cutting grass and mowing lawns while she's used to men giving her just because she's always been beautiful and attractive. And he unalived her. he took her life, and he let it be known he took her life because he wrote it on the wall or the mirror. I think it was in blood. I forgot what he used. Basically saying, this woman used me. I fell for her. I was in love with her, and I realized she used me. He realized after pulling out all of that money, she never really wanted him. She wasn't even attracted to him. She didn't even sleep with him, and he got tired of it. So anyway, it just goes to show how pretty privilege can be a blessing or a curse depending on how you utilize it. So let's first discuss this situation with Kim Zolciak, y'all. We got to go into her history. You know, Kim has been around the block more than a damn Uber driver. Everyone knew. I knew. The Pope knew. Barack Obama knew. President Obama, former President Obama knew. Everybody knew when Kim married Kroy, it was all about a dollar. And this is what happens when men with success lack confidence. Success with lack of confidence is dangerous because you will share your wealth with the wrong person. Because you have the money, but you don't have the discretion, and you don't have that spiritual discernment to know this woman is using me. Kim got tired of hoeing, especially when Big Papa start cutting off those Big Papa checks. She knew she needed to land something quick and in a hurry, and she ain't had a lot of time to do it because you ladies, we all know, we all are aging. We're getting older. The things that used to point north are now pointing south. Kim knew she had to hurry up and jump on something before all those spider veins and cellulite on the thighs, all of that start kicking in. So she knew she had to jump on something while she still halfway had her looks. But let's go into the history, y'all, of Kim Zolciak, because Kroy should have saw this. Even Stevie Wonder, even Ray Charles saw that this was a recipe for disaster. And this is what happens when a man with success, low self-esteem, falls for pretty privilege. So going back into the Real Housewives of Atlanta days, you know, Kim rose to fame as one of the original cast members, and we have witnessed her having several relationships. And you know, the show started in 2008. That was an attorney for the party singer was dating the married man she called Big Papa. Everybody knew he was married. He was flourishing her with luxurious things, but of course she had to keep him secretive from her fans or her co-stars. But you know, you can't be on these reality shows for a long time and people don't really find out too much of the inside of your life. And it ended up being revealed that he was identified as real estate agent, real estate mogul, not agent, 𝓜𝓸𝓬𝓱𝓪'𝓼. So she told her fellow cast members she was engaged to him, but eventually found out he never divorced his wife, like a lot of these married men do. I don't know why women still fall I'm leaving my wife, I'm not happy with my life, and it's a bunch of bull. They never leave the wives, but nevertheless, he gave her a massive rock and gave her this false hope that he was going to be committed to her. And I guess she realized after time went on that he was never going to wife her like that. It was a merry-go-round situation, and she realized she gave 4 years of her life and for nothing, and she finally had to move on. So she split from him and moved on, and that's when she discovered Kroy Biermen. Now, she met Kroy, y'all, at a 2010 charity event with Sheree Whitfield, and you could tell she was already had her thought magnet on him. Talking about, I remember the episode when she was looking at his butt, saying how nice his butt looked and everything. She was already on a mission. So she almost missed out. She almost didn't go to the event, but she went to the event and looked up and met him. And basically that's what happened. That's when she met him, and that was the day that forever changed her life. So, goes to show you never know. Supposedly, like she said, God always has a perfect plan. So, nevertheless, Kim and former NFL player Kroy welcomed their first son, Kroy Jr., KJ, back in 2011. Then they tied the knot in their Georgia home. Now, I remember during the wedding, y'all, I saw the episode. Kim was treating her parents like garbage. I don't know if y'all remember that, y'all. That was when the Housewives was really good back then, and they wasn't scripting stuff like they do now. They so hard up, they making storylines like, I hot make pancakes, honey. It's just no effort. But anyway, I remember Kim being very nasty towards her parents. I remember one of them wanting to go to inside the mansion to use the bathroom. She didn't want she didn't want her own parents going inside the mansion to use the bathroom. She got upset about that. Kim just really showed her ass with a lot of people, with her friends, with her parents. She's always had a very strained relationship with her parents. Kim has always done too much. She's always doing too much. You get what I'm saying? And it has cost her a strained relationship with her parents. She's lost a lot of friendship. Used Candy to put that single out. First I felt sorry for her when I felt like Nene was overpowering her as the white girl. You get what I'm saying? But over time, Kim started revealing her true colors. Calling Candy's house ghetto because it was in the hood, because Candy was smart enough to get an older house that was affordable and get it remodeled and make the home into a luxurious home, which was smart. She didn't try to be big time, and Kim tried to be big time. That's why her house went up in foreclosure. This is why folks don't need to be talking to nobody when you talking about other people when you already got your own struggle, or you don't know what struggles you got lying ahead. So be careful. Just because you're sitting good right now, it don't mean that's going to always be the case. But let me go back to the history. I'm digressing. So 6 months later, they tied the knot. They went on to welcome their son, second son, Cash, in August 2012, and twins Kane and Kaya, I believe. Kane and Kaya or Kaya. In November 2013, all these K's. The former athlete also adopted Brielle and Ariana. Okay, we got another Steve Harvey situation. I'm telling you, these low self-esteem men want to prove their validation so much to these pretty privileged women. These women they call trophy wives that aren't really a trophy. But anyway, I didn't know that, but I should have known. He adopted Brielle and Ariana from previous relationships, because they got their own biological fathers. So, in May 2023, this month, Kim decided to file for divorce from Biermen after 11 years of marriage. Surprised they lasted this long. And they probably lasted this long because there, for one, was too many goddamn kids. Nobody wanted neither one of them with all the children. And I think for a while, of course, they was rolling in the dough. Things were going pretty well financially. And I really think Kroy was whooped. His nose was wide open. So I believe, like another Marjorie and Steve situation, I believe Kroy sat on the passenger side and allowed his wife to do all the driving. And let me tell y'all something. As much as women, as we claim we don't want a man to be in charge, but at the same token, it's very detrimental when you have a man that lacks leadership abilities, and he pretty much just goes along with you to get along with you. He goes along to get along. He does not put any input. He does not say, babe, I think we're spending so much, I think we need to cut back. Sometimes as wives, as women, we don't have all the answers. We don't always know what we're doing. And as long as our husbands aren't abusing their leadership, by being abusive and controlling and manipulative. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be able to follow when they give good advice if it's going to help build and plan our future. I remember I wanted us to move into a brand new house in a gated community. That's what I wanted. You know what I mean? What woman does not want a beautiful home, beautiful kitchen, all of that? And my husband at the time was like, look, that sounds great, but at the same time, I want us to own something before we get in our 40s. I don't want us to, we can't go on vacation, we can't do things, we can't travel because, oh, I got to work to pay mortgage. You got to work to pay mortgage. When if one of us gets sick? When if one of us lose our job? Well, I promise you, I'm glad that that was the one time that I did submit. Although I don't submit to a lot, I'm always bucking the grain. But respectfully, of course, that was one of the things I'm glad that I did listen to him on too, because we ended up owning our home in our middle 30s. We bought an old modular house, fixed it up along the way, remodeling the kitchen. You know, it's very expensive. You know, the remodel a home, these materials and stuff cost. Plywood, you know, tiles and everything. It costs us when you're trying to remodel a house. But we ended up owning our home in our early 30s, where we was able to travel and do things together because we didn't have to worry about mortgage. And truth be told, looking at seeing where things are now, how rent prices have skyrocketed, I think that was one of the best decisions we ever could have made. I'm so glad we didn't invest into getting a very expensive home. I ended up losing my job, so we really would have been going through it. So you know, nevertheless, back to the point that I was stating, she ended up filing for divorce. Kim Zolciak from Biermen after 11 years of marriage. The dual split came amid speculation about their financial woes. So the way it's looking at this point, now that they're going through the situation with IRS, looking, you know, their home going into foreclosure, it's starting to come off as if now that their marriage is encountering financial hardship, Kim wants to pull out. Now her pull-out game is strong at this point. 3 months before they break up, this was made public via U.S. Weekly, confirmed that the couple's Georgia mansion was in foreclosure and was set to be auctioned off in March of 2023. Now, Zolciak, for her part, seemingly laughed off the situation, sharing a video of her husband vacuuming the couple's home while wearing nothing but boxer briefs. Getting yourself a man that does it all, folks, okay? She wrote via Instagram. So, of course, you know, Kim was still trying to put on this united front and act like, you know, everything is fine. We're not struggling. And I saw the little video snippet where she was like, all of these haters, everybody around talking about us, like we done lost our home, and as you can see, we're good, we're in a good place, I'm still at my home, everything is okie dokie. You know, women, you know, who know, women like this who are used to bragging and always putting up a front, every time something publicly gets out, they feel the need to have to respond. And this is what happens when you always try to make your life look grand and reality hits. Things really start going left. Now you feel the need to have to address it. You feel the need to have to explain yourself and pretty much still try to prove a point, like everything is still going great, you know, putting up this united front, because this comes from always bragging, acting like your ish never stink. And now that it's stinking and people are talking about it, because you're so used to seeking validation from public approval, you feel like you got to run to social media and explain and, you know, make it seem as if you're not in a struggle like that. When the truth is, girl, you are in the struggle. Okay? Your man Nobody been. I don't know a lot about football, but when I mention Kroy's name to men that are football lovers, they don't know who the hell I'm talking about. Okay, so his name is not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not known like that. Kroy is not known like that. You know, he's not well known in the NFL. For most people who are football lovers, they really don't know who the hell he is. But anyway, going back into Kim's dating history, so we can already get a general idea of why we knew this marriage was going to end at some point or another, just based off of the type of people she chose in her past. But nevertheless, for those of you who are not familiar, or in case y'all need a reminder, because I know it's been a while since we've heard too much about Kim's dating history, since she's been with Kroy for 11 years. But in 2001, she welcomed daughter Ariana. She married Toyce in 2001. She was married to a guy named Daniel Toyce. They had Ariana. The duo split in 2003, and she has never publicly identified the biological father of her eldest daughter, Brielle, who was born in 1997. Before that, so hopefully he's not from a married man. Maybe that's why you're not exposed and never talked about her father. But moving on, that's another story. Then there's Lee Big Papa Najjar. She was dating him in when the Real House of Atlanta oh gosh, y'all, get my words mixed up. The Real Housewives of Atlanta, when it premiered in October 2008, she was dating him during that time and called it quits the following year. In 2012, Najjar was arrested after skipping a court hearing related to allegations that he failed to maintain a storm weather system at one of his properties. After that, he was released from custody. He claimed that he missed the court date because the issue had already been resolved. So, of course, her big baller shot caller started having issues of his own. Big Papa, that was the Mr. Invisible guy that she always talked about throughout the first season of the show, when she was buying cars, Benz, townhouse, she kept relating to him as Big Papa. We never knew who the guy was, but we knew he was married, which is why she could never really acknowledge him like that. Like most side chicks, they could really ever acknowledge a married man unless you air mattress Arion. But moving on, so after the Big Papa thing didn't work out and she no longer was getting those Big Papa checks, and Big Papa put a stop on those checks, that's when she got it with Tracy Young, a female. During 2010, that's when she linked up with her. I guess at this point, sometimes when women go through this phase of not being able to get the man they want, now they want to cross over. Now, I don't have a problem with women who decide to be with other women. Who you love, who you love, that is your choice. Nobody has the right to tell you who to love and how to love. But we knew Kim was doing this from a desperate standpoint. She wasn't getting anywhere with men. This was her first same-sex relationship. At this point, she was just trying to grab whatever she could grab, going through a phase of being desperate and lonely. But she ended up in a relationship, stating, of course, because it's never her fault, it's all the other person's parts. She considered Young at the time to be a fame-obsessed cocktail rider, alleging that they only had dated for 8 months, that she was just basically with her clout chasing, supposedly. That's Kim's perspective on that. She turned around, finally got with Kroy. At this point, she wanted to reform from being a Jezebel. After being a side chick for all of those years, then getting with another woman, not negating the fact that she had her oldest child from a man who she never acknowledges. All of these different people who she has had relationships with, Kim came to the realization that she better hurry up and lock something in very solid. And what tends to happen is some women, they go through that thought season when they realize that thoughting is not getting them anywhere, and they're not able to get the attention they're used to getting. They see their beauty clock is running out, and they're not getting the attention they're used to getting. So the moment they get an opportunity where there's a man, especially a man that seems financially stable, when an opportunity arises and they meet a man that seems like he's in a good place, they know this is an opportunity I have to take. I have to grab this. Realize Kim is very materialistic. She loves status. She loves image. And at this point in time, she knew she had to jump on the first train that was departing her station, which was Kroy. Kroy came in Kim's life during her thought season expiring. She got pretty much tired of hoeing and going from man to woman and woman to man, and from married man to woman, and all of this carrying on. She realizes, I need to hurry up and find me a man real quick. It's why I got these looks, why this Botox still got my face tight and right, why these breast implants, my boobs are still sitting up pretty nice. Before it all starts dropping, before gravity takes its course, I need to find a sucker. I need to find a man that's gullible enough, lacks discernment, is easily to be fooled and manipulated by my pretty privilege, that I don't have to put in a lot of work to really prove what type of woman I am. And Kroy was the #1 winner up for that. So she started dating Kroy, who was playing for Atlanta Falcons during the time in 2010 after meeting him at a charity event. Wasn't too long, they married a year later in 2011, which was very fast. And there's a scripture on that, y'all. I want to tell y'all that scripture. I always let my mom know about this scripture all the time. Because this is something that a lot of men and women still have not come to understand. And it's very simple, but as simple as it is, a lot of people do not do it. Proverbs chapter 19 verses 2 through 26. It is dangerous and sinful to rush into the unknown. A man may ruin his chances by his own foolishness and then blame it on the Lord. All these microwave relationships like Portia Simon, all these instant microwavable marriages, not really knowing people for who they truly are, not knowing their spending habits, not understanding their real motives. It's very dangerous. The scripture says that. You have to be very mindful about going into the unknown. It also says, still Proverbs 19, verses 2 through 26. I'm not going to read them all. But it says, being excited about something is not enough. You must also know what you are doing. Don't rush into something, or you might do it wrong. 9 times out of 10, when you rush into something, it's going to be done the wrong way anyway. Further goes on, people ruin their lives with the foolish things they do, and then they blame the Lord for it. And we know that all the time. You know, listen. People don't just play victim with other people. People play victim with the Lord. Why me, Lord? Lord, why me? Why me? Why did this happen to me? Knowing you didn't consent with God, knowing you didn't have a conversation with God before you decided to move this man in your house, before you as a man decided to put all your money into this woman, you didn't seek nothing because you were what? You were what? Let's go back to that scripture. Let's go back to it. Back to it. I'm going to be clicking back and forth, y'all. So if y'all hear me clicking and everything, you know, while I'm doing this, I know I didn't just boot that out. I know I did not just boot that, because I had the scripture ready. Let me go back. Okay, there it goes. If y'all hear some clicking, that's because I'm reading my sermons and stuff in between. This is why Proverbs, going back to Proverbs chapter 6, verse 25. Do not lust in your heart after her beauty, or let her captivate you with her eyes. Same thing for you ladies. Do not lust in your heart after his handsomeness, or let him captivate you with his eyes. It goes both ways. In other words, don't be fooled by the beauty and the booty, or the muscles and the masculinity. Stop letting looks fool you. Further, going back to Proverbs, where I was, Proverbs chapter 19. People ruin their lives when they do foolish things. That's why I read that scripture to y'all about lusting, going behind somebody because of how they look, not really getting to know them. You're so busy looking at the pretty package. You know, like when you get a Christmas gift, you see the pretty beautiful wrapping, the pretty bow, but inside the contents, it could just be a rock. Just because it looks good on the outside, that don't mean it's good in the inside. So when things go left because you're looking at the outside of the package, people want to blame the Lord. People want to play the victim with the Lord as if God didn't create you. God knows his children. He knows you're stubborn, you hard-headed, you thirsty, you lustful, you want what you want. Further goes on to say, wealth will bring you many friends, but become poor and your friends will leave you. Ha! Kroy! Ha! The word is real. She ready to leave him. Well, she is leaving him. She don't want him no more. Not only will wealth bring you many friends, it will bring you husbands, wives who show their true colors when the water runs dry. But become poor and your friends will leave you. Moment of silence. I need a tambourine. Because this scripture alone is revealing everything with Kroy and with Kim. She don't want the man no more. A witness who lies will be punished. The liar will not escape. Many people are nice to a generous person. Hello. Praise God. Long as people can get something out of you, long as people can benefit from you, long as he was buying them Prada bags, them, what those other luxurious bags, because y'all, I'm a Walmart, I'm a City Trend, I'm a Temu girl, I don't know about those luxury bags. I think Michael Kors is even too basic for Kim. Dooney and Burke, Brahmin bags, hell, I don't know. I don't even go into them stores. I can't afford it stuff, but anyway, long as he was being generous and giving her, that thing was happy. Kim was happy, honey. Every time he was swiping that card, she was climaxing. Yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes. Right there. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Ah, yes. Long as he was swiping that card, honey, she was climaxing. If you are poor, your family will turn against you and your friends will avoid you even more. Lord, you might beg them for help, but no one will come to you. Be a friend of yourself. Do all you can to be wise. Try hard to understand. You will be rewarded. A witness who lies will be punished. The liar will be destroyed. A fool should not be rich and a slave should not rule over princes. Experience makes you more patient, and you are most patient when you ignore insults. But, honey, the word is real. A foolish son brings a flood of troubles to his father, and a complaining wife is the constant dripping of water. I'm sure the way Kim is, thinking she's the cat's meows, God's gift to men, I'm sure she started bitching and complaining about what they can't do. And who's to say Kroy probably didn't try to bring her down? We might have to get a cheaper house. We might have to get cheaper cars. And she kept complaining and bickering. Like, I'm not trying to downgrade. I'm not trying to go back to the struggle. He probably tried to talk her down, but he done created a monster. You know, laziness brings on sleep and an appetite for rest on hunger. We know Kim is lazy. She does not want to work. She wants to be beautiful. shop, get her Botox, and that's it. She wants to be a trophy wife. And what do trophies do? Trophies just sit on the shelf and look pretty. She doesn't want to lift a finger. She caught herself trying to do some business as child by, because she had something called cashmere or something. I ain't heard nothing else about it. But anyhow, let's go back to talking about her and Kroy. Okay? So, getting down to the steak and potatoes of what possibly finally got it up to this point where she realized she needs to divorce this man. Now, there's so many different like sources. So until I guess this thing really blows over, everything is going to be kind of, the details are going to be kind of sketchy. But from a couple of sources that I have read, with Fox News, I don't even know if they're even credible at this point with all of what they got going on. But the divorce really came into play based on financial troubles. There was no cheating or adultery, no scandals, nothing that most people would think would really leave ground for divorce. Basically, it's about money. This is a no-brainer because we know Kim loves money. So the sources are basically stating that after 11 years of marriage, it was Kroy, the former NFL player, who filed a divorce petition May 5th on the ground that marriage is irretrievably broken. In other words, he knows there's nothing he can absolutely do at this point to please his wife. He knows he'll never be able to make the money to uphold the lifestyle that she so dearly desires for them to have. He's just over it at this point. I think Kroy realized he can never really measure up to what Kim wants. And I think for 11 years, he really struggled trying to upkeep the lifestyle that Kim wanted. And eventually, especially when this financial hardship came into play, realization set in that he knew the marriage was pretty much over. And unfortunately, the way you get them is how you lose them. That's why these men need to be mindful with pretty privilege. Giving women the privilege of your future simply because they're pretty. Once you start these women off a certain way, you got to keep doing it. That's just the bottom line. However, Zolciak, Kim did file hers the very same day. She claims, in his petition, starting with Kroy, he claims the parties have accumulated certain debts and obligations during the course of the marriage, and he is seeking an equitable division of same. So, I'm gonna have to look into what that means, cause y'all, I'm not believe it or not, I got 2 master's degrees in criminal justice, and still a lot of these damn terms be like crazy for me. So I'm gonna look up the term of that, so I can get a better understanding as to what he's seeking in the divorce. I have an idea, but I don't want to guess. So let me type that in so we all can be on the same page, honey, because it's going to be interesting to see what both of them are expecting out of this divorce. Meaning, let me see. So basically, it basically means that all marital property acquired during the marriage should be divided equally. Okay, pretty much kind of what I had in mind, but I wanted to be sure. This is going to be interesting because Kim thinks she's queen bee. I doubt she's gonna want to split everything 50-50. She probably wants to split it 90%, 10%, meaning the 10% belongs to him and the 90% belongs to her. So in addition to the marital woes, Kim and Kroy owe the IRS more than $1 million in unpaid taxes from 2013, 2017, and 2018. No statement will be issued, Zolciak's representative told Fox News. Kroy is also seeking temporary and permanent sole custody and sole physical custody of their 4 minor children. Kroy 11, Kroy Jr., Cash 10 years old, twins Kaya and Kane 9. So Kim made sure she got in as many children as possible. Now I already mentioned y'all he adopted her other children. So nevertheless, basically, doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out Kim wants out. Kim wants out. Kroy has become dull, and the thing about the pretty privileged woman is when the well starts running dry, so do their interest. Kim is very materialistic, like Marjorie, very materialistic, Steve Harvey's current wife. Now, one thing about the pretty privileged wife, the trophy wife, the way she meets you, that's what she expects. She expects you to live up to those expectations indefinitely. They can't deal with change. They can't deal with struggles. They can't deal with that. And unfortunately, these men, they create monsters. They don't prepare these women for reality. In event things happen, you know, and the truth is, a lot of these guys like Kroy, Steve Harvey, who pick up these trophy wives or whatever, they meet these women, fall in love with these women solely based on their looks. Of course, over time, you know, they try to put their wives in a good light because they don't want anyone thinking their wives are just airheads and just have nothing but looks to offer. So in some instances, they'll try to encourage them to start businesses, start doing things that will help them gain their own type of relevance other than through their name. Or basically they'll just continue to keep showering them with lavish things, kind of like Steve Harvey does. They basically know that if they want that woman to continue to love them, they have to keep showering them with luxurious things. They know that 9 times out of 10, that is the main key to keeping the pretty privileged wife. You have to keep those checks coming, and they know this. And when a man knows he has solely earned a woman's interest based off of his interest, meaning his money, and he no longer can provide that to keep her happy, he automatically begins to feel defeated. Kroy hasn't been picked up from a team since God knows when. Okay? Kroy's been struggling to try to keep Kim happy. And believe it or not, men like Kroy and Steve Harvey, that they feed their own ego through their wallet. You know, as much as some men claim they don't like to be used, some men don't mind being used. It feeds their ego. You got some men who don't mind if a woman only wants them for their money. That a woman only wants them because of who they are. You got some men that are okay with that. Steve Harvey knows Marjorie only really wanted him for his money. Now, a lot of people been lying and pushing this narrative with Steve Harvey and Marjorie, stating that the reason she was seeking his interest. I think back, was it 2008? I think, and the reason why they didn't link up at that time because they both were married. But the truth is, they did not link up due to the fact that Steve Harvey was a struggling comedian. And if he wanted that woman to really love him for him, he would have knew right then and there by her not accepting him during his low season. If he had any self-worth as a man, he would have never went back to pursue her, even when he started doing well and his success had picked up later on in life. He actually allowed her to court him during his success. So he didn't mind her not wanting him when he didn't have anything, when he was struggling to build. Now, however, his second wife with him at the time, Mary, was being a good wife, even though she got back her karma from taking him from his first wife, Marcy, or whatever. But she knew he was struggling and she supported him. If he was going to, stay with a side chick, that should have been a side chick. You already left your wife for your side chick who supported you, and still left your side chick that supported you for another side chick. You cannot make this shit up. Anyhow, so he didn't mind Marjorie wanting him when the cash started flowing in. In fact, that is when he chose to court her, because he already knew she has pretty privilege. She's not going to want me unless I am showering her with gifts and giving her a luxurious life. And he don't mind being pimped to get her. Again, you have a lot of these supposedly high value men that's supposed to have such high standards, that's supposed to only seek women who can actually be an asset to them, not actually just costing them assets. You have some men that don't mind being used. They don't mind a woman only wanting them for what he can do, as long as he can get that woman. And then when they finally conquer these women, only because these women have reached a state of desperation, only because these women realize this sucker is really feeling me. So, I know if I was to be willing to be with him, even though he's not ideally my type, I know he's going to give me everything I need. He's going to give me everything I want. So, you have the pretty privileged women, like him, like Marjorie, who give these men who act desperate, who they know is so infatuated with how they look, they give them the benefit of the doubt. And what happens is, these men know that these women solely chose them on who they are and what they could offer. But because they so badly desire these type of women, based on how they look, based on whatever has them so infatuated about these particular women, they don't mind emptying their bank accounts. But Kroy is a prime example, and that's what Steve Harvey needs to be very careful, because the way you get them is how you lose them. And we're seeing Kroy put 11 years into this woman. That's a lot. He put a lot of time, he put a lot of children, and I'm not going to make him sound like the great outstanding guy. Kim, evidently, she invested. After all, this is the longest relationship she's ever been in without trading him in for something bigger and better, which I'm sure if she could, she would have done that. Kim hung in there because she knew there was practically nowhere she could go. She already been thought out throughout the industry. Nobody's not checking for Kim like that or taking her serious. Not only that, they had accumulated a lot of children throughout the duration. So, they had their reasons for why they hung in there so long. And I'm sure Kroy probably hung in there because he didn't want to have to deal with having to lose his children, in a sense, having to share custody. And, both of them basically are losing something. But even more so Kroy, because the court systems are so sexist. They predominantly pretty much reward everything mostly to the woman, and the man comes out on the end empty-handed. Kim had a very big advantage. She's older than Kroy. She knew he was younger than her, still driven by his hormones, and she knew she had him by the balls with just how she looked. Kroy was thinking with the head downstairs and not the head upstairs. Kim is probably the prettiest woman he probably ever had in all his days. He's probably never gotten attention from women who like him. Now, this isn't to say that she's the prettiest woman in the world, but for him, that's probably the prettiest woman he's ever been with. Not to mention, there's a 7-year difference. Kim is 44. She was born in 78. And Kroy, he was born in 85. He's 37. So think it back. 37. So he was damn 25, 26 when he first married Kim. And Kim was damn 33, 34. So Kim definitely had a big advantage already, the fact that she was older than him. So she knew what to do to wean him in. She probably was giving magnificent blowjobs. I'm sure that's really what got him, is the bedroom. Kim looked like she could barely boil noodles for spaghetti. I don't know. Maybe she has some type of domestic skills, but don't like she got much. But anyway, 1 Corinthians 13, chapter 13, verses 4 through 7. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And that is how you know there was really no love in this marriage. There was no patience at all. I guess she felt like she's been with him 11 years. She stood around long enough to see if things would get better. And I guess in her mind it didn't. Kim was low-key miserable with Kroy once she found out that Kroy really couldn't live up to this lifestyle that she was hoping. Now, I think Kim was very naive. I don't think she did her research. The fact that he was an NFL player at the time, I think Kim, being an airhead that she is to a certain degree, I don't think she did her research. I believe she probably thought he was a Tom Brady. I don't think she really understood that Kroy was on the low level end of being an NFL player. Now you have some of these guys that are top notch. They're up there, like Russell Wilson, Sierra, singer Sierra's husband. Some of these guys are well known. They got rank in the NFL. Kroy does not have rank like that, and I don't think Kim really understood that. I think the fact that he was young and a nice looking white guy. He's not ugly, young, handsome, successful. In her mind, I believe she thought she hit the jackpot. And once she got deeply involved with him, Kroy could not get picked up by anybody. And at the time, he just so happened was sitting on millions. But the way Kim came into his life, spending and wrecking up everything like damn Hurricane Katrina, I think all the money he had that he was able to do well, could have did well, could have succeeded with, she burnt him out. I believe she burnt him out. And him being young, not understanding, yeah, this is a beautiful woman in his mind, but this woman is going to expect you to over exceed the lifestyle that you've become accustomed to living. Now, he probably was comfortable with his millions. Let's just hypothetically say, let's say he was sitting on 10 million before he met Kim. When him and Kim got married, her extravagant lifestyle probably was like 20 million, if that makes any sense. Other words, she probably totally overly exceeded, being dumb and uneducated, not understanding Kroy did not have high rank. She spent what she thought Kroy was worth. And unfortunately, his position in the NFL was not even half of what Kim was spending. She tapped out. She burnt the man out. And it comes a point when no matter how much you try to spend, listen, your finances are going to make you keep it real. Okay, how much you go into that account. You keep going into the account, taking money, buying this, buying that. One day, eventually, you're going to go in that account. And that account is going to say negative whatever amount. Finances make you face reality. Like, we really can't spend like that. You can have 20 million a day, and 2-3 years go from 20 million to 200,000, and in the back of your mind you're like, what the hell? Money is so easy, it takes forever to accumulate, but you can lose it all in a matter of seconds. Kind of like trust. Once it's been broken, it's hard to restore. And that's the same thing with being a millionaire or a thousandaire, whatever. Kroy married a pretty privileged woman that his parents wasn't fond of. From what I heard and things I read upon, they did not want Kroy to marry Kim. They already knew about her. They was aware of her from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She already had the reputation of being a gold digger. They was not feeling her. And nevertheless, at the end of the day, Coochie rules everything. And he let his head downstairs lead him instead of the head upstairs. And he's paying for it. He's suffering for it, because this is going to be an expensive divorce. They're already struggling with the IRS and having to pay all these unpaid taxes and stuff. This divorce is going to finish breaking him. Hopefully Kroy can stay strong through this, because we know that people that aren't used to being to the bottom, they have a hard time accepting failure. And struggling people that's used to struggling, used to having a cutback and don't mind going from steak and potatoes to fried bologna sandwiches. I mean, I get it. Me and my husband have done it plenty of times. Money was so tight, we just had to eat at home. Ain't been no Longhorn, no Red Lobster, none of that. It just is what it is. But it didn't distraught us because we was used to the struggle. Hopefully for Kroy, because he's a young man, hopefully he keeps himself mentally together. Because, like I said, these courts are very sexist. They usually make most decisions are based on the favor of the women, because the women end up with the children. Hopefully he can survive this. This is his first marriage. Ain't like this is second, third time where he can kind of know what to expect. This is going to be a real reality for him, not having his children live with him when they've been living with him for 11 years in the same household, having to pay Kim and split property, split assets, which ain't much because they owe the IRS so much as it is. It's going to be a hellified adjustment for him. Kim been trying to get courted. Kim knew what she was doing. She married the man within a year, had kids back to back. Age-wise, all of her kids are like a year apart, and her twins, she had them together. She probably got a damn, what they call it, artificial insemination, whatever they call it, when you can have twins, triplets, or whatever. Kim went all the way in to secure the bag, only to find out that the man is struggling. Because, like I said, he does not have high rank in the NFL. And from what I'm hearing, what he's doing today, what he's doing for a living, he doesn't have a job. He does not have a job. Kim been trying to hold it up supposedly with her skincare line and other avenues of income, but the man struggling. And instead of her honoring her vows for better or for worse, she like, looks, my Botox comes first. I can't get the Botox. I can't get the wigs like I want to get anymore. I can't. I got to get wigs from Party City. I got to get wigs from Wish. I can't get my $5,000 wigs, you know. Kim has very expensive taste. You know, as a wife, you got to be in reality. You got to know when your husband don't have money like that. I know my husband makes enough money if I want to get my hair and my nails done for at least $100, $150. That's reasonable. I really don't expect him to pay what I wouldn't pay. He can do that. But for me to go to a nail shop where they're going to charge like $300, that's not even feasible. And you got to be in reality with your man's struggle. You know, if he's telling you, honey, I didn't make that much money this week or whatever, and even though y'all initially have plans to go out and eat for the weekend, spend time for the weekend, guess what? Y'all gonna have to sit y'all asses to the house, watch a movie, get some popcorn from Dollar General, whatever, and just make the best of it and get through it. Still enjoy each other's company, and just realize this ain't the time for it. You got to eat, enjoy it, have a good time, but it's gonna come a day, depending on your bills and circumstances, you're gonna have to cut back. We all felt the funk during the COVID. A lot of us wasn't able to go out to eat. And you know what, believe it or not, that's when a lot of divorces really came into play, was after that COVID. You know, as long as people was able to come and go to work, and not to deal with each other, and able to go out with friends, able to go out and have a good time. Let me tell y'all something. Divorce rates skyrocketed around COVID because people had to really deal with each other. We had this strict curfew. You know, we were isolated. We were on lockdown. The whole United States was on lockdown due to the COVID. You was only allowed to go to the bank, the grocery store, handle minor errands, but for the most part, you was going to be home with your husband and wife. And baby, let me tell you something. If y'all already had problems and y'all already wasn't good at communicating, to be stuck up under the same roof for months at a time like that during that COVID, a lot of people couldn't handle it. As long as the world was moving like it's kind of back to normal, I guess, if you want to call it normal, you was able to kind of avoid reality. As long as you was able to go to work, you was able to drop kids off to school. If there was some problems, y'all wasn't stuck at home having to look at each other and really deal with it. They said divorces went up and domestic violence went up. I was working at the jail at the time. A lot of couples was getting locked up for battery and physically assaulting each other. Not only that, finances hit a lot of couples. You know, during that season in which COVID pretty much had erupted our lives, a lot of couples are still suffering to this day financially from that COVID. You know how many husbands lost their jobs, wives lost their jobs. Everybody felt the funk. A lot of people was low-key miserable. And it really took couples to be really prayed up to be able to overcome that COVID and not, you know, feel incarcerated being up under the same roof with each other. A lot of people took advantage, was getting unemployment, all type of things, letting the bills pile up. Thinking because the pandemic, because there was a restriction on landlords being able to charge rent, banking companies with mortgages. You know, a lot of people got over like a fat rat. Instead of people taking advantage, steady stacking money up, or, you know, keeping the income rolling, some people got lazy throughout the whole COVID. Them 4 or 5 months, almost a year, people just straight up didn't work, didn't save up, didn't do anything. And when things started restoring and get back to normal, it came back on their marriages in the worst way. Taxes wasn't being paid. A lot of stuff that should have continued to be paid wasn't being paid. People took advantage of COVID, not understanding, y'all know good damn well, once this COVID thing passes, they're coming at y'all full throttle. A lot of people didn't make good, and not just average people. These celebrities, they're no exception to the rules. Kroy was so into Kim, he did not lead as a man. He did not handle his business as a man. He let his wife lead him. Pretty much like Steve Harvey. Let his wife lead him. But the only sad part is, if Steve was to ever fall down on his luck or lose all his millions, Marjorie leaving him. She's not going to stay. He has made her accustomed to being a trophy wife, the pretty privileged wife. She's not going to support him. She may try to go with the flow for a little while so people don't look at her sideways or whatever, but this is her pattern. Marjorie has left every man who could no longer take care of her financially. She's done it with her husband. She did it with a husband friend, because supposedly they're not cousins, they're not related, according to the first husband. So every time men get down on their luck, you have the pretty privileged wife that goes ghost. Because again, she's always been so privileged to not have to do shit because of her looks. So if a man puts her in a position where she got to do something, or I got to work now that you lock up, I got to work now that you done lost all your shows and networks, Steve better be on his best behavior. He better not never fail her. He better not ever have to file for bankruptcy or any of that, because Marjorie is gone. She gone ghost. But the crazy part is, in the meantime, he still has to keep spending and giving her this life to keep her happy. So it's a double-edged sword. If he would have tried to save up and cut back and on his lifestyle and how they spend, he's going to create a princess that's going to throw tantrums to the point she probably might not even sleep with his ass, won't give him none, be sleeping in her big old queen king size bed, make him sleep on a pull-out sofa in the man cave. She'll make him suffer, and he knows it. So he can't cut back. But the bad part is, if he doesn't, she's going to leave him anyway. You know what I mean? So a man who claims to have so much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, hell, I don't see it. You know what I mean? Kim Zolciak is a prime example of what happens when these men create these trophy wives. They're pretty privileged. I ain't had to do nothing but be pretty to earn your attention, to earn your love and marriage. Now, supposedly, Steve Harvey tries to paint his wife in a light where she's just not this pretty privileged woman, like he had to really earn her by respecting her and showing her that she's a queen. You know, they try to push this narrative like Marjorie was such this classy, elegant woman that Steve had to really bring himself up in order to get her attention, when the only thing he had to bring up was his wallet. That's what he brought up. So they can miss me with the lies. They keep lying and trying to make Marjorie sound like she's this virtuous woman. Like, you know, she's always had high expectations, and she never just picked up any man that had interest in her just because. She's always been very selective. You have to come correct. He's always painted this false narrative like, Marjorie was such this virtuous woman. She ain't been a virtuous woman. She was an expensive ass woman. He don't want to like a herb, and at the same time, he does not want Marjorie unhappy. When Marjorie is unhappy, all hell breaks loose. Let me tell y'all something. I believe when Marjorie is pissed with Steve, he feels the wrath like no other. And because he has this image to protect, and he's shitted on so many people, he can't even afford to piss Marjorie off because he don't want Marjorie to give up on him and go ghost. Because he showed his ass and he's put his wife on such a high pedestal, his ego is not going to allow it. Until life gets in the way. Sometimes no matter how much you try to stay in the good graces of your wife by spending all this money, give her a luxurious lifestyle, life happens. Kroy tried to do it. Life happens. Now, even though Kroy and Steve Harvey is nowhere financially on the same level, but it's all the same. They picked up women who got a pass of leaving men, not sticking around when things get bad, when hardships come. Part of marriage is for better or for worse. It doesn't say anywhere in the scripture, unless my bank account is empty, you are free to divorce me or give up on me. These women have a track record of not sticking, toughing it out in a situation when it no longer benefits them. So I may do a part 2 on this if I feel like I missed anything else. But no shit, Sherlock. We knew this was coming. Everybody knew Kim was going to leave him. I'm surprised she hung in there this long. And again, she hung in there that long because money was still flowing. Once she started, swiping that card and it said insufficient funds, IRS coming at them, tax people coming at them. Them big old houses like that. Do y'all realize how expensive the light bill is for them 8-9 bedroom mansions? The water bill is probably like $1,000. Lights is probably $3,000. It's not just the house, it's the things within the house that are very expensive. A light bill in a mansion compared to a light bill in a 2-bedroom apartment, you don't even want it. Kroy was way in over his head. Hopefully, both of them find some peace with this. Divorce is not easy. I'm not rejoicing or gloating at this. Divorce is very painful. It's very heartbreaking. Not only they're going to have to deal with the financial hardships coming behind this, they're going to have to deal with the mental, the emotional. The children are going to have to struggle to adjust. I think Kim most likely may try to get back on a reality show. This may be the only way she can gain her relevance again. Is by people wanting to know what's going on with her now that divorce is taking place. How is she going to bounce back into dating? How is she going to readjust her life with her children? Now, people may be interested in her storyline now because of her circumstances. How long they're going to stay there, I don't know. Her ace boon coon Nene is not on the show, so I don't know how that's going to go. But when it comes to money, Kim may be like, the hell with Nene, I need a paycheck. Or unless she do her own spinoff or something. But Kim, because she loves money, I believe she's going to find a way back into the spotlight. I believe she's going to use this divorce as a way to capitalize off of it. Truth of the matter, everybody knows about it. Might as well capitalize off of it. No different than Mel is capitalizing off people knowing all of what she's going through, but at the same token, she's making her coins, and she's able to take that money and put so many other things into it because she knows eventually the shows are going to end. Is barely making it now, and at least Mel knows she did everything right with her coins to where even if the show never gets picked up again after people start losing more and more interest and more views, she's good. She has many clothing lines, product lines. Mel is covered all bases. Unlike the rest of them on these shows, they spin while the show is going, and when the show ends, they assed out. They're looking like a deer in the headlight. They don't know where they're going to get the next dollar from. So, same thing with Kim. I don't think Kim has been smart and saved up any money. I don't think she's done any of that. You know, again, Steve Harvey better be careful. This could very well happen to him. This woman loves him as long as those coins, ching ching, is rolling in. But we don't know if he were to get in a really bad situation, if Marjorie's going to be ride or die. Only time will tell. But anyway, I'm going to get ready to shut it down. I had to keep kind of splitting and breaking us up on different parts because so much. I had to just keep pausing and stopping and doing other stuff and going to see my sister-in-law who injured her leg and stuff, check on her in the hospital. So, you know, woman's job is never done or whatever. So nevertheless, y'all, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about this. I got a surprise that's going to be coming up relatively soon. So make sure y'all keep tabs on my community page. Other than that, y'all, I appreciate y'all so much. Appreciate the love. I appreciate y'all subscribing. If this is your first time, please don't exit this video without subscribing. Join the family. Mocha's Ladies Lounge. Hang out with us. I call it Ladies Lounge because this is a spot where we can hang out, do girl talk, have some drinks while y'all listening to me, go in on my content. Y'all can go in and you know, if I'm doing premieres, we can live chat like we at a bar, just, you know, cutting up, having good conversation amongst each other. This is a space where women, we can let our hair down, not feel judged, not feel brutalized, not feel attacked. You know what I mean? So same thing for the guys who want to learn from women or love being in the company of women. I don't discriminate. You know, I let anybody pretty much float however they want to float. Now I do have my other channel, Mocha's Cafe de Paris. That is co-ed for men and women. The majority of my male subscribers are there. So ladies, if you don't know about that channel, you're welcome to subscribe over there as well. I do pretty good content over there. It's more balanced though, because I have male subscribers and I do have to respect my male subscribers who rock with me. So I don't do a lot of women based content over there like I do here. That's why I got 2 separate channels. That's to keep everything balanced or whatever. But nevertheless, y'all, pray for those who you know are struggling with their marriages. Because let me tell you something. The enemy is trying to attack 2 things: family and marriages. So a lot of people I know who done fell out with family. They not dealing with their sister, not dealing with their mama. It's a lot of people that's not dealing with family, and enemy is starting with families and is attacking the families. So be careful. Recognize the enemy when he's trying to cause strife amongst you, your mom or your sisters. He's trying to divide families, and I'm not gonna lie, he's been succeeding and doing a wonderful job causing division in the family. Definitely division in marriage. He's trying to attack marriages. So definitely be prayed up, y'all. It may not be your situation, but it could always end up being that way. So with that being said, y'all, just keep each other prayed up. You know, these are trying times. Prayer is more valuable than money, than anything right now. So make sure y'all stay prayed up. So nevertheless, y'all, leave y'all comment below. Please, before you leave, hit that like button right now. Just take that finger of yours and just hit that like button. Leave a like button for me on my nightstand. It's not going to cost you anything. It is free. It helps my video get in the algorithm. So it may not be a big deal, but when you hit that like button, trust and believe, it shoots our videos all the way up there. It elevates our content. So please hit that like button if you like what you hear today. And be on the lookout, because y'all know I'm always coming up with some more content. I got a lot of more things that I have to discuss. So be on the lookout. I think I'm going to do... I did on my other channel. I want to talk more about the Nicki Minaj and her husband Kenneth Petty situation. So be on the lookout for that content. I think I'm going to be doing that next. So nevertheless, if you want to order cable, I got cable 9,000 channels, only $25 a month. You could bring your own Fire Stick, or you could buy a Fire Stick from me. Email me if you want to get cable from me. I also customize tumblers, cups. Your mother, for Mother's Day, I can make her a really nice cup. I could put a picture on there. I could put a grandkid's pictures on there. It does not matter. Gifts are hard to find. Avoid the long lines. Everybody likes cups. I could make a cup. I can give you a metal straw with it for extra $2, or a plastic straw. However, give your mom a nice customized cup. Everybody uses cups, so it's going to be something she can use, and she will also love the uniqueness of the cup. So inbox me if y'all want me to make something for your mother, your mother-in-law, you got a sister, or somebody you know that's going to be a mom soon. I will be more than glad to make a Mother's Day tumbler. I also make purses as well to match the tumblers, but anyway, I'll put that in the community space for those who didn't get to see it. So anyway, y'all be blessed. This is your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Ladies Lounge. Y'all take care. Until another time, be blessed.